The War Council chamber aboard the Imperial flagship Dominion's Fist hummed with anticipation. 300 representatives from across the Galactic Empire had gathered, their varied forms creating a tapestry of colors and shapes beneath the vaulted ceiling. They had come for one purpose: to finalize the invasion of Earth. Emperor Thraxus, a towering figure with crystalline skin that refracted the chamber's light into rainbow patterns, raised his primary appendage. The vote is clear. We proceed with the conquest of the human homeworld. Their planet is rich in resources, their technology primitive. This will be a swift campaign. A murmur of agreement rippled through the assembly. Humanity had only recently achieved faster-than-light travel, stumbling into galactic affairs like children into an adult's gathering. They possessed no energy shields, no quantum weapons, no genetic enhancements. They were, by all accounts, easy prey. Then a voice cut through the enthusiasm, a voice that carried the weight of centuries. "I advise against this action." The chamber fell silent. All eyes turned to General Catharn, the Empire's most decorated military commander. The Velkari warrior had led successful campaigns across 40 star systems, never losing a single engagement. His crimson scales bore the scars of 1,000 battles, and his reputation was beyond reproach. Emperor Thraxus's crystalline features hardened. "General, your objection is noted but unexpected. Surely you see the strategic value?" "I see certain annihilation," Catharn interrupted, his voice steady but grim. "Your Majesty, honored council members, I have studied humanity extensively. I have walked among them, observed their history, analyzed their culture. What I discovered—" He paused, his reptilian eyes scanning the room. "What I discovered terrified me." Uncomfortable laughter echoed through the chamber. Councillor Miraeth, her translucent form shimmering with amusement, spoke up. "General, with respect, they are a single-planet species. They have no shield technology, no antimatter weapons. What could possibly—" "They evolved as persistence hunters," Catharn said flatly. The laughter died. "On their world, there exists a creature called the African wild dog. It hunts by simply following its prey, for hours, for days if necessary. The prey runs, exhausts itself, and eventually, inevitably falls. The dogs don't give up. They never give up." He let that sink in. Humanity learned to hunt the same way. They would select an animal, often larger and faster than themselves, and simply follow it. Walk after it, day after day, until the creature, despite every physical advantage, collapsed from exhaustion. Then the humans would close in. "Ancient history," Thraxus dismissed. "Primitive tactics, is it?" Catharn's claws scraped against the podium. "Let me tell you about their wars. We pride ourselves on our century-long campaign against the Zorath rebels. Humanity fought a war, they called it the 100 Years' War, that lasted 116 years. Multiple generations were born, lived and died knowing nothing but conflict, and they kept fighting." He activated a holographic display. Images of Earth's battlefields materialized above the assembly. They fought a global conflict, their first world war, in conditions we would consider violations of the Galactic Convention. Trenches filled with mud, disease, and poison gas. Soldiers would charge across open ground into machine gun fire, knowing they would die, and when one wave fell, another would follow. For 4 years. 23 years later, they did it again. Their Second World War consumed their entire planet. They developed weapons capable of destroying cities in an instant and used them. 6 years of total warfare, 80 million dead, and at the end, with their cities in ruins, they rebuilt and continued. The hologram shifted, showing more recent conflicts. They have a saying, never give up, never surrender. It is not merely a motto, it is their fundamental nature. I watched recordings of their Vietnam War. A technologically superior force invaded, expecting quick victory. The humans fought for 20 years, in jungles. In tunnels they dug beneath the earth. They lost millions, but they never stopped. Eventually the invaders withdrew. Councillor Zephyra, a being of pure energy, pulsed uncertainly, but their technology advances faster than any species in recorded history, Catharn interjected. In a single century, they went from primitive flight to landing on their moon. In another 50 years, they achieved FTL travel. We took 12,000 years to accomplish the same progression. He brought up another image, a human in a spacesuit floating in the void. They launched themselves into space in metal tubes knowing they might die. Many did. They continued anyway. They built a station in orbit using technology held together by what they call duct tape and hope. When disasters struck, when crews perished, they mourned and launched again. The general's voice dropped to barely above a whisper. I spoke with one of their scientists. She told me about something called the Voyager program. They launched probes, simple, primitive machines beyond their solar system. These probes carry messages, greetings to any alien life that might find them. Millions of years from now, long after their sun dies, these probes will still be sailing through the darkness, carrying humanity's voice to the stars. He deactivated the display and faced the Emperor directly. Your Majesty, we are an empire of conquest. We take what we want because we are stronger. But humanity? They don't fight because they're strong. They fight because they refuse to accept defeat. If we invade Earth, we won't face armies that surrender when the battle turns against them. We'll face billions of beings who will throw themselves against our ships with whatever weapons they can forge. And if we destroy their planet, the humans scattered across their colonies will hunt us. For generations. For centuries. For however long it takes. The chamber remained silent. Emperor Thraxus studied his general, the light refracting through his form creating dancing shadows on the walls. They are a young species, Thraxus finally said, but his voice lacked its earlier certainty. Yes, Catharn agreed. Young, reckless, and absolutely relentless. We can defeat them today, but I promise you, Your Majesty, their children will defeat us tomorrow, or their grandchildren, or their great-great-grandchildren, because they will never stop coming. The vote was called again. This time the result was different. As the council dispersed, Emperor Thraxus approached General Catharn privately. You truly believe they would never surrender? Catharn's scarred face held something that might have been respect or fear. Your Majesty, they have a story. A myth about a king who was struck down and arose stronger. They call him the once-and-future king, and they believe he will return when needed most. That is who they are. A species that believes in resurrection, in second chances, and impossible victories. He looked out the viewport at the distant stars, somewhere among which Earth spun in the darkness. They are a species that turns death into determination. I advise we offer them alliance instead of conquest, because if we make them our enemies, they will become the Empire's nightmare, and nightmares, Your Majesty, are very difficult to kill. The Emperor gazed into the void alongside his general, and for the first time in his reign, he felt something unfamiliar. Doubt. And in that doubt, humanity found not a master, but a cautious friend among the stars.